Hello again. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to set up your project IP addresses. We're going to cover driver or PLC setup, HMI setup, and go over PC settings. So let's get started. Let's start out with creating a project. And we'll start out with CMT 3090. And as we add our first driver, we're going to click New PLC. And I happen to have a Phatek PLC on hand, just right here handy with me, so I'm going to start out with that driver. And we're going to do Ethernet, of course. Now, this is the driver or the PLC setup dialog right here. So there's a lot you can do from this page. Of course, you can select a device type and the protocol, which we're using Ethernet here. And in the middle of the page here, if this were a serial driver, let me do something else then, of course, RS-232. If this were a serial driver, our COM port settings would be in here, but we're doing Ethernet. So, of course, our IP address settings are in here, and that's what this video is all about. So we're going to go ahead and click Settings, and of course this is where we define the IP address for our PLC. Now if it's a driver we've already got, it will go ahead and put the correct port number in there in most cases. Here you can add a little turnaround delay to give time for your data to get over the network. And of course there is a timeout setting here you can set. Here you can set a station number if the protocol you're using calls for that, or if you need to identify it in another way. Now there's also a link here to the connection guide. I've done other videos on the connection guide, so you can refer to those. And that about does it for your PLC setup. Go ahead and click OK. Now when we add an object, of course our device, our PLC, shows up here as a choice. And then of course our all of our data types within that type of object. So anyways, under our driver here, I'm going to go ahead and change our IP address here because I've already got it set up on the PLC like that, and just make it 50. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a download to my CMT that I have right here. But before I do that, I need to go ahead and make sure my network settings are correct, and we'll go to our local area connection here and go to properties, and Internet Protocol version 4, and we need to set up our IP address here so it will be able to connect to the local HMI and our PLC and all that. So I'm going to change that to a 10 and make that 60 Make sure this is good. So now when we go over here to our project download, of course I need to save the project. And of course it found it because we have our network settings and stuff correct. If it doesn't find it right away, then obviously something isn't set correctly. We've got a little link here, and this will show your current IP addresses. So of course this is my local area connection, and this would be my wireless connection here. Let's take a moment and jump on over to our HMI settings. On the CMT, we have a little button here to access the network settings. You want to hit Settings and go ahead and log in. Enter. And in the CMT, you want to go down to the Network tab. And I'm currently connected to LAN 2, which you see here LAN 1 is set to auto. You can turn it off and on here. In order to save settings, you always got to click OK or touch OK, and it will go ahead and update them. So I want to check our LAN 2 settings here, and as you can see, they're correct. I'll go ahead and hit OK, and so we just go ahead and click download. And we're all finished there, so I can go ahead and exit out. Now obviously that was a successful download because I knew my HMI's IP address and had it set correctly, and I had my PC, and we corrected my PC IP addressing so it connected correctly. One other thing you can do to test your project settings is an online simulation. As a general rule, if you can connect to your PLC, for example, as I am here, and your project settings are correct, then your project should connect through an online simulation. So let me go ahead and add a bit lamp to show this state right here. I'm going to change that to momentary. Put one in here for my stop rung. Alright, so go to the project tab. We go ahead and hit online simulation. Now this simulates the HMI connection to the PLC, and of course it's obvious that we have good communications there. Thanks for watching, and be sure to come back and see more of our instructional videos.